Okay, everyone, welcome to a new episode 15 of Owning Her Health. This is Dr. Lisa Holland, PT, and I am excited today to bring you some young goddesses. I had the treat of interviewing Girl Scout Troop 3515 on a project that they approached me on here, which I thought was super cool. These 5 girls, ages 11 and 12, are named Michelle, Ashley, Emily, Lindsey, and Nicole, and I think this is a great episode to share with anyone, young guru gals in your neighborhood or your family, to let them know their voice can be heard if they put together their own project and get up the courage to approach maybe someone with a bigger voice, another goddess that they know. And I wanted to share that on the show notes this week, make sure you click over. I think what I'll do is I'll put on my Instagram at Dr. Lisa Holland PT. I'll put the link directly to the blog and Libsyn pages this week, because I want you to grab something we talked about, which was alternatives, because knowing something and then taking action is so hard, which we talk about a little bit with the girls. And I think it's really important for you to listen to this, even if you don't have anyone young, because number one, you have a home and you want to make it healthy. But number 2, sometimes we forget that we are actually wasting money going out and doing some other things because we need to just organize ourselves. So I made it super easy. And on the show notes, which I want you to grab, I put some of the essential oil tips, a link to the essential oil tips. I know that those that you follow me know that my show is sponsored. One of the sponsors is Audible. Audible.com has over 1,800 titles to choose from. And what I thought was really cool is I went in and I figured if you haven't taken advantage of the 30-day free trial and the free download from my link, you can use this episode as your catalyst to do that, because they have about 6 pages of essential oil audiobooks for making everything from household cleaning products to having a green pregnancy. I know I've been experimenting with my family with everything from making nasal bombs for allergy suffering to making sure as soon as I see the onset of not feeling well, I have it on my kids' feet, on the bottom of their feet, down their spine, and putting on my my On Guard and other essential oils that we've been experimenting and using to really happily. And we discuss a little bit of those things a little bit. And I have put together for you also the link to my store, just in case you get really excited and you want to take some of the information, some of the goddess wisdom that these 5 young girls so courageously and wonderfully shared with us into action, because that's really what's important. So make sure that if you're in the car listening to this, you take a second to maybe jump over to the Instagram and click on to go to those show notes so that you can directly go and download some of that information as soon as possible. Thank you so much for being here, and here is your episode of Owning Her Health right now.
Welcome to this episode of Owning Her Health with your host, Dr. Lisa Holland, PT. Join Lisa as she starts the conversation on what it really takes to become a healthy, wealthy, and whole CEO of your life. Listen in to real talk by real lady leaders in all walks of life as they open up on personal health stories, wealth, career, and feminine abundant living. Learn how to grow by owning your body, expanding your mind, and aligning your soul with the purpose only you can pursue in this world. Happiness begins with owning her health right now.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Owning Her Health. Today I have a really great treat for you. We have our younger goddesses, our guru gals with us today from Girl Scout Troop what?
3515.
3515 in Mecklenburg County, right? North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. And they had a project that they've been working on for a little while in terms of looking at environmental health and their own health with that. So we thought it might be nice to feature some of our younger goddesses on this episode. So why don't you guys first start by introducing yourself and telling us, I guess what we'll do is who wants to be the one that is kind of telling us what the project was. Somebody want to volunteer? You three, we'll split it up. So everybody, we're going to go around. You say who you are and your age, and then at the end I'll ask what the project is, okay?
My name is Michelle, and I'm 12 years old.
My name is Nicole, and I'm 12 years old.
My name is Emily, and I'm 11 years old.
My name is Lindsey, and I'm 11 years old.
My name is Ashley, and I'm 11 years old.
Awesome. So what are you girls working on right now? Which badge is that?
We're working on It's Our Planet Love It journey.
Okay, and what's that about?
We are working on this to get, our silver award, and this is, we chose to do this one, and we chose to talk about the indoor air pollution and how it affects us.
Awesome. And what made you guys pick that particular one for your badge there?
We made a list of a bunch of the problems that we thought were big, and we voted on this one because we thought we could think of many reasons why.
Really great. And I had visited them in a meeting about, I don't know, girls, what was that, about a month or a month and a half ago, where we kind of talked about our health. And at that time, we were talking about some of the things that we don't even realize. I think I had proposed to you guys, where is it kind of dirtier, outside or inside our houses? And what did we realize? Inside, which is amazing because you're always thinking about all these other things, environmental pollutants being actually outside, but there's a lot of things that are inside as well. So let's get started with your presentation in terms of educating my audience in terms of how they can better own their health and own their happiness and their comfort with that, with your project. So who's going to begin? Okay.
We are working on our It's Our Planet Love It journey, which is a project we are excited to do to get our silver award. For our journey project, we chose to teach you about indoor air quality. We will give you some tips to help you improve your indoor air quality.
Great.
Indoor air pollutants exist in many forms. You can avoid polluted air intake by adding plants to your house. Tests and experiments have been run to see which plants help keep the oxygen fresh indoors. The best plant to have in your house is the garden mum because it was tested by NASA and was described as an air purifying champion. After the garden mum comes the spider plant, Dracaena, weeping fig, and then the peace lily. Not only are these plants good for air quality, but they are also very pretty decorations to have in your house. You can take action with this idea by placing one large plant for every 129 square feet. You can place them in offices or classroom settings and position plants so each person has greenery in view. This improves your health. To purify the air, use 15 to 18 plants in your house, but the approximate amount depends on the size of your home. That's roughly one larger plant for every 100 square feet. This small action will help purify and clean the air and will make a big impact on your life.
Awesome.
We are talking about cleaning products because the products that you use can release chemicals into the air that just might make you sick. You're probably wondering how to know what cleaning supplies to use for your house. Maybe what is the best, what is the safest? Well, first you need to see what it is made of, what to watch out for, like pneumonia, antibacterials, disinfectants, bleach, chlorine, bleach, and more. Watch out for labels that might trick you, like all natural. And think to yourself, is this safe? Buy the all naturals after you look and see what it is made of. You should also change your air filters every 60 days if you have a pet and any allergies. If it is a vacation home and you do not have any allergies, 6 to 12 months.
That's very interesting because I don't think a lot of people realize and do that.
Hi, I'm reporting to you on household chemicals and their effect on the environment around us. Typical household products can often release harmful chemicals which can adversely affect the air that we breathe. There are numerous alternative products that are still very effective and much safer. A few of them include baking soda, lemon, cornstarch, citrus solvent, and vinegar. Baking soda cleans, deodorizes, softens water, and scours. Lemon is a strong acid and is effective against most household bacteria. Cornstarch can be used to clean windows, polish furniture, and shampoo carpets and rugs. Vinegar can be used for pretty much any cleaning and sanitation. Citrus solvent can clean paintbrushes, oil and grease, and some stains. Here are a few helpful formulas that use some of these products and can be used around the house. For air fresheners, try mixing baking soda and vinegar with lemon juice in small dishes and putting it around the house. Or you could keep fresh coffee grounds on the counter for a pleasant smell. To make laundry detergent, mix 1 cup of ivory soap and 1/2 washing soda. Use 1 tablespoon for light loads and 2 tablespoons for heavy loads. An easy way to make dishwasher soap is by mixing borax and washing soda. Grease spots are typically very hard to get out, but by sprinkling some cornstarch on the spot and waiting 15 to 30 minutes, you can vacuum.
That's awesome. Thank you. I actually did that this morning with some baking soda on my rugs.
A major source of indoor air pollution is environmental tobacco smoke. also known as secondhand smoke. There are many effects on smoking and indoor air quality. Children that are exposed to this type of air pollution are at a greater risk for acute respiratory infections, sudden infant death syndrome, asthma, and eating problems. Adults are at risk for heart disease and lung cancer. So it is important to make sure that we keep educating people that smoking is not only harmful to yourself, but is also harmful to the people around you.
Thank you.
Overall, we hope that you have learned to make positive changes to your life based on the helpful tips we have given you. We wish to help spread the word about ways to improve indoor air quality, and with your help, we may be able to impact the entire globe. Polluted air quality is a big worldwide issue that causes approximately 7 million people to die each year because of aggravated asthma, bronchitis, emphysema, lung and heart diseases, and respiratory allergies. Because of this, we ask you to spread the word about how to prevent this from affecting you, your family, and your friends' lives. If you are willing to try any of these suggestions, feel free to comment which ones you might try. Also, you can comment if you have any questions or recommendations for any other helpful tips. This message was brought to you by Girl Scout Troop 3515.
Thank you, girls, so much. So there's a couple of things that I saw in there or heard in there, and I just wanted your opinion on it. It seems pretty easy to be cutting a lot of the chemicals and junk out. And by the way, did any of you actually look at any cleaning products and look and see what's on the sides of them? Yeah, that's something to do because it's hard to. It's interesting because there's so many things on the market that say natural or healthy, and unfortunately here in America we really don't govern who can put that on their label. There's a very lax or easy way to kind of put those things, and so a lot of people kind of grab them. But always looking at the labels, there's a lot of stuff there that you can't pronounce, and it just sounds like everything you guys told me I could pronounce. So why do you think more people don't do that? What do you think?
Because if you, well, it's kind of unrelated, like in Fit for Life, we were talking about food labels, and the ones you can't pronounce aren't the best for you. So it's kind of like the same thing, like the minerals or whatever is in it you can't pronounce is not really helpful or like good for cleaning.
Yeah.
I think also many people don't realize that indoor air quality can be really dangerous for you if it gets really bad.
Yeah, especially here in the Carolinas because we have it, we're always kind of in our houses with the air conditioning. It's really nice out, especially in the summertime. It gets really super hot in the southeast of America. Some of my friends don't live in America that sometimes listening to this, but in the southeast, so I'm explaining in the southeast is kind of, it stays kind of warm. The more south you go, and we're in our houses with the windows closed a whole lot. So what do you think though? Why do you think more people are not making some of those things? Like what did you say with you said about like you can mix up the borax, like you had one of those recipes there. What do you think's the biggest obstacle to people owning their health with some of these things in your opinion? It's hard to say, right? Because you would think that's as a health provider, definitely it's tough. I spend most of my time. I think it has to do with effort. I really think it's easier. I mean, look at with you were speaking about food, and it's easier to go down to McDonald's and Chick-fil-A and whatever, and even they advertise, oh well, we such and such is better and healthier than such and such, when you really know none of it's really healthy, but it's convenient. So what do you think, because you guys are nice and young, so your brains are working really nice, what do you think are some creative ways we can make it easier for our moms and dads maybe to do this stuff? Any ideas? I mean, yeah.
To start cleaning with all natural things and kind of make your own stuff sort of, so it's not as dangerous and you know what's in it.
Yeah, that would be a really good day. So maybe taking one day. I know with food, sometimes we suggest having a prep day where Sundays everybody gets together and hangs out in the kitchen, and some people chop and some people do this, and it's 2 hours of a lot of work, but you have your whole weeks of food. You could do that with cleaning stuff. And have let's say, a month of cleaning products or something like that. That's a great idea. That's a really good idea. Anybody else have any other ideas how they could make it easier for mom and dad to do. I mean, do you want mom and dad to do it? Now that you did all this research, does it feel like you kind of want it to happen in your house?
Yeah.
Yeah? So what do you know, did you hear about those women's marches that were going on all over the world? And one of the things with that was everybody was doing and yelling, rights, equal rights, or whatever. But you need to take action. So what do you think each of you might want to do to take action, realistically? Not just like, oh, it would be great if I do that. What do you think you're strong enough right now to take action to bring some of this into your home? Anybody got any ideas?
Well, you can sort of like start like making the stuff, and you can go out and you can get stuff that can help improve it. Like as Michelle was talking about, the plants that you can get to make your indoor air quality better.
Right, just even putting a plant in your house. How many people here have a plant in their room? Is it one of these environmentally sound plants? You gotta say no. I mean, just plants in themselves are healthy, right, for the oxygen exchange. So it's always good to be breathing. But maybe bringing in an environmentally healthy one, right? Especially if you have rugs versus floors and things like that. How about vacuuming your room on a regular basis? Can you do that? Right. So anybody else have a really cool idea of how they think they personally might be able to bring in something? Yes.
Like what Nicole said earlier, sometimes our parents have us clean our room. When we're cleaning our room, we could use some of the cleaning supplies that are like, we've checked the ingredients and we know that they're better for the environment.
Right, maybe kind of saying, I want to use this. And actually, you know, I don't know if you see over here, you guys can't see it on the video, but I have my essential oils in the corner. And yeah, I know we talked and played a little bit about that, using like essential oils, things like lemon and wild orange or something, and putting that in with vinegar, and, you know, putting that in to clean your windows and your things, because they are environmentally sound and they do the cleaning. That's one of the things, right? We've kind of been convinced that the only thing that can clean our countertops are bleach, right? They've done really good marketing. They've done really, really good marketing. Did you guys research anything? Did you guys see what bleach does? At all? Does anybody know about that? I know we smell it in the pools sometimes, right? That chlorine. Yeah. It's like crazy. And in our water, another thing is our water, having water filters. Yeah. Right? Having water filters on the things so that it cleans out some of the things in water that you know, you can't see that stuff. So that's a nice way to kind of do it. Anybody got a third idea of how they can bring that in? And it's okay if you don't. Just thought we'd share, because some people, again, you know, they're busy, and the easier we can make it to connect the dots for them, I find always helps them actually utilize this stuff. Yes, ma'am.
Like if you're going shopping with your mom and she wants like more cleaning supplies, you can actually help her look instead of just saying, because she might not know this, but you do. So you can help her look and get the best stuff that would be safe for your house.
There you go. And that's great wisdom, because sometimes we think our like younger self doesn't know, you know, like we think the older people just know everything. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you right now, sometimes we graduate to an older age and we actually did not pick up some information, or we forget, because we get so caught up in I'm sure you do now. Don't you sometimes forget how it is to play? Like just to play, not organized where you're in a competition or whatever, just play. Mm-hmm. Don't you? And isn't that it? Yeah, because you get busy being 12 and you forget how it was to be 3. Yeah. Right? But there was some good things about being 3 that kept you very healthy, such as your imagination. Mm-hmm. And, you know, owning that tutu. And really loving it and wearing it proud, no matter how silly you looked, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes we have to remind our mothers, our older version of these goddesses, to remember that, because they get kind of really caught up in what will people think, and and it's kind of silly because it makes us stressed out. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think is the biggest takeaway you got from doing this badge and doing this project? What's something that you think is a really kind of something that you're like, I'm going to remember that probably for the rest of my life?
Well, now we know sort of how to like improve our air quality so that when we're older we know how to make it good, and we know that we should always look at the labels, make sure that it's good, and that we can add plants, and we know how to make our own stuff. And now you know how to make like good air, how to have like good air quality for your homes.
So I'm hearing you say being educated, remembering to be educated and maybe not just go with the flow, get so busy that you're just doing what everybody else is doing. Because don't we know that what everybody else is doing is not necessarily what we should be doing sometimes, right? Listening to ourselves, our little, what's that little voice inside called? Conscience, right, our conscience. And that conscience is always sort of telling us, and then we get to make another C word. When we listen to our conscience for a second, what do we get to do? What do you think that word is? We get to make a choice. We get to make a choice. And that's really what's so, so important. I think that with a lot of these things like the women's marches and a lot of different things you might learn in school where people were kind of like not allowed to do things, that's really what they're talking about, right? They're not being allowed to have a choice in their life. But sometimes we are allowed to make a choice, and then we don't, right? We don't make one that's actually for our health. It might be for our happiness for a second, right? I mean, who doesn't want an ice cream sundae at 11:30 at night, right? Right? But we have to understand that if we did that every day, no matter how happy it made us, in the end, we would not be that happy. So we have a couple of minutes here, and I thought maybe we can talk a little bit about, as you guys, like just at 12 years old, tell me a little bit of what's going on, like about health and wellness with your age group now. Like outside of the Girl Scouts, do you think you'd be thinking of any of this stuff if you weren't a part of the Girl Scouts right now? No? Why do you think that?
Well, for the Girl Scouts, we had to research what we were doing, but I feel like most 12-year-olds just like sort of go with the flow and they don't actually think to really like know how to improve it.
Most 12-year-olds are carefree. They just do it. They don't really think about, like what you said, they don't really think about what they're doing. They just go,
let's go do
yeah.
Let's just go do that.
That's how they get into
Right,
trouble.
so mindlessness.
Yeah.
You're seeing mindlessness. And that's really an interesting thing because that's not just being about 12.
No.
I see that sometimes really older. Does anybody ever see their parents kind of act mindless? You don't grow out of it unless you work at it. So that's awesome that you're noticing it. Remember that completely. So what do you think is the issue? I know in you guys were working off of this book. It's Your Planet, Love It, A Leadership Journey, which I think that's awesome. The book's called Breathe. I'm going to ask each of you the same question and see what you guys, and again, speak from your own heart, right? So what do you think, which do you think of all of these issues that you looked into a little bit as you were working through this book, what do you think your issue is, the main one, I know you're going to take away with you, and why does it matter to you most?
I think the most important issue was checking your chemicals and seeing if the products you're using are safe. I think this because not many people feel like they can take the time to fully read labels, and if they don't know the word, they're just going to skip it and look at the words they do know. So I think if you want to make a successful product that people, if they care about the environment, that they would use, I think you should maybe use simpler words that would get to people more.
Yeah, it's almost like they try to confuse us.
They think that if we don't read it, we'll buy it because the other words sound like it's good.
So we have to be smart.
Yeah.
We have to stay smart women, and men, but right now we're all women here. But we have to stay smart. We have to stay smart. What do you think is the most important one to you?
The most important issue to me is plants, because most people just plants are for decoration and they don't actually understand what it does for you, and they don't understand how it can actually affect you in your home if you have like an actual real plant, not just like some fake ones people buy for decorations.
Right. So they're looking at the beauty of it, but not the functionality of it. Right. And that's so true with anything, really. Sometimes like our clothes, right? Oh, those shoes are so beautiful, and then we can't walk in them. Right? Right? All right. What about you, Emily?
Well, I also think the chemicals, because well, as she said, we really have to look at the labels as what they do, and also if we make our own, we can make sure that they're that they're good for us. And if we really read the labels, most people just go and they skim it over, just oh yeah, okay. But you should really look at what it says, and the company should really make easier words, because a lot of people do care. So they should.
But a different language. It would be like us going to Germany and trying to buy stuff, and we'd be clueless as to, and you're kind of just going to go by. What are you going to go by? You're going to go with the look at it. Yeah. Does it look like it's good or smell good? And sometimes those things can be very deceiving. So great point. And those smelly things you're going to look for in particular, anything that says parfum or perfumes. Stay away from. If they can't even write what made it smell, then that's their way of sort of being like natural perfumes. What the heck's that? Could be anything, right? Why aren't you telling me about the flower or the rose hip or whatever, right? So that's a big one to look for. What about for you, Lindsey? What do you think?
I would say chemicals too, because people just go and they buy things. They don't think about what they're made of or anything like that, because they just want to go fast, and so they just go and buy things. But if everyone were to start thinking about what they were all made of, the air pollution and stuff would go down.
Mm-hmm. And it's not only the air, a good point. What happens from the air that happens and then it wets our floors and things like that? Rain. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so all of that becomes the water, and for the animals and the fishes and all of that. So, those things can turn into pollutants in the waters, right?
I want to say something about cleaning, like what Lindsey said. When people are in a rush, they don't really have time to read it. They just, grab this because it looks good or something.
Or smells good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, when she said looks at or smells good, most people, they'll look natural. Oh, that must be very good and safe, but they don't really know what's really inside of it. They think that, oh, well, it's natural, sure, let's buy that.
And the funny thing is that if you told them to take a lemon, which actually kills a lot of germs, and clean their countertops, they'd say, you're crazy, I can't clean my countertops. But then they'll go and buy the thing because it's natural lemon. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
What about for you?
I would also say chemicals, because people don't realize how much how effective that household products that we have, like baking soda, are around the house, and they can really clean.
Yeah, and it cleans your teeth, and it cleans, there's so many things that baking soda and stuff like that. Underarm deodorant. In fact, I am experimenting and made myself some stuff with Melaleuca, which is an oil, tea tree oil that is good for cuts and scrapes and things like that and germs, and then using that with lavender to smell good and putting that in some baking soda and using that to clear sinuses, and then also see how effective that works as a powder for underarm deodorant. So it's just, it's fun. It's like experiments if you're ever bored, why not, right? So another thing that I think is interesting that I don't know if any of you guys kind of thought about is we spend so much time, I know you were speaking about food, because we say what's going into us. But when we're breathing, that's going into us. And when we're rubbing stuff on our skin, that's going into us and things like that. So did any of this project make you guys think in that type of way too? Like, what's going into me?
And the chemicals and everything. The chemicals that's in all of that.
Yeah. Is anybody angry about any of that?
A little bit. Well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now that you know what you've been using in your house might not actually work, and it's bad.
Right. Or that it's not as, kind of like, it feels like lying sometimes.
Yeah. Like the company.
Trust.
Right.
So it's like demanding more trust. But do we have to wait until the government gets through all of its laws and things like that? I'm hearing some great ideas from you guys right now, and I'm hoping that my audience takes some of that for owning back their health, because you guys gave some great, easy ways. Plants, you gave the examples. In fact, what I would love is if maybe we can put a list of those plants on the show notes, which will be on the Libsyn page. If anybody has any comments, we could relay and, what they thought about this podcast, what they're doing in their home to maybe share some new ideas, and we can bring it to you and you can bring it to your friends. Would that be a good idea? Yeah? All right, great. Any parting thoughts to my listeners and our watchers on the video vlog? No? Improve your indoor air quality out of the mouths of babes. So I thank you so much, because it's so important for us to not only be looking at authority outside of us. It's so important, I think, especially for women, to honor the authority inside of ourselves. I call that the inner goddess tribe. I think that when we grow up, we kind of have a little piece of our little girl, and then a little bit of our teenager, and a little bit of our young lady and our mama, and then maybe as we get older, we have a little bit of our older self. And I think it's so important to keep listening. I feel like all of those pieces are part of our inner tribe, like our inner consciousness and our wisdom. And it takes us to go back inside and be quiet once in a while. That's why we've got to do something called concentration or meditation, or just, be quiet and by ourselves once in a while, because we can't hear her. And another thing I think is that we're born with all of those guides already. So even though you've never been a mother yet, you have a mothering conscience in there. Because haven't you ever taken care of a doll or a puppy? Yeah, it's there, right? You don't have to be a 30-year-old giving birth to a baby to have a mother, right? And did you ever kind of listen to that conscience? Maybe you're with a friend and they're not really choosing the right thing you think, and you're hearing almost like a voice of wisdom, like an older, you're almost like, oh my gosh, I sound like my mother or my grandmother right now, right? So it's like we carry this wisdom sort of our older self always. So remember that, girls, that no matter what age you are, if you're quiet and still, and that builds confidence. And I really think that's a key to keep. So I hope all of you remember all of this stuff. I thank you so much for sharing it with some of the older ears that might hear this. I hope they think to share this with their younger gals at home and nieces and things like that, and their sons and their brothers and things like that, because this is important for everyone to do. But I so thank you for your Guru Gal wisdom today. And tell everybody goodbye. Bye. Thanks so much, guys. So this is Dr. Lisa Holland, PT, ending another episode of Owning Her Health. Thanks so much. Take a look at the show notes. This is brought to you today and sponsored by Audible.com. Audible has over 180,000 titles for you to be taking a book on the run, because learning all of this stuff is hard, trying to collect it. And, sometimes it's easier to get a great book, even if it's just for recreation, relaxation. Remember, resiliency matters just as much as education and building yourself up in your smart category. Sometimes it's really nice to just go off on a fantasy, but 180 titles there. Those of you listening to this podcast can go on the Libsyn notes and use my code right there, and you will get yourself a free 30-day trial with a free download. So go check that out. Check out these links that I'm going to have there with these ladies on some new plants to get yourself, maybe some tricks. I'm going to probably put in maybe 1 or 2 essential oil recipes on there for you to make sure you can start doing some cleaning products, and let's get this show on the road. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening into this episode of Owning Her Health with Dr. Lisa Holland, PT. To learn more about her personal and professional development service, visit her online at drlisahollandpt.com.